Hey guys, are you ready to take the intensity up a bit for my next recommendation? Walking Dead Saints and Sinners by Skydance Interactive. Before you think this game just isn't for you like I did, sit back and let me explain why this game became one of my favorites even as a new VR player. It was released on the Quest Store in October 2020 and is still listed as one of the top selling apps, with an average rating of 4.6. It has inspired a plethora of YouTube videos. Some of my favorites are linked in the description. This is definitely one for a mature audience because, murder. You play as a lone survivor known as the Tourist in New Orleans years after the zombie apocalypse started.
I'll be down. The Tourist? In the flesh? Oh, stories about you been buzzing all over the bayou.
You have to decide if you will help your fellow living man or if it's every person for themselves. Your home base is a bus where you will scrap your supplies to make the items on 3 crafting benches, all while scavenging for supplies to make food, medical gear, and weapons. You have a skiff to get to 8 unique areas such as a school, a warehouse district, the suburbs, and apparently they all have their own weather systems. Sometimes you'll have to travel in a flooded underground crypt to get to 2 other areas. There is an overarching storyline, and it changes depending on the choices you make in the game. Now, I am a big fan of the TV show, and this game stays true to the spirit of that show in that people can be scarier than the zombies. This game is considered a first-person shooter survival horror game. 2 of those terms would normally scare me away from this game. The first being first-person shooter. But what I like about this game is you can play in stealth mode for most of the game and shoot people from afar, or just run away from conflict. I played so much in stealth mode in my first playthrough, I found out later that I could have made a deal to get an object.
See Jeff, he's around the corner.
You got nerve rolling in here uninvited.
Instead, I just murdered everyone in the house to get it. I guess there's no running from my introverted personality, even in games. The other term that would normally scare me away from a game is horror. Now, don't get me wrong, I love horror movies, but I don't like VR games with a lot of jump scares. It's just plain scarier in VR. The horror of this game relies more on atmosphere than it does jump scares. Well, and of course, zombies. With the city being overrun, it's not totally unexpected for a horde of zombies to break down a door or appear when you turn a corner. This was actually the 3rd or 4th VR game I ever played, and I did get stuck in the first area since them darn ankle-biting zombies wouldn't let me crawl up the downspout. In frustration, I looked up some playthroughs and picked up some great tips, some of which I'll be sharing, and they helped me get through that first area and give myself the experience and confidence to take on the rest of the world. So I think newer players could pick up this game. You just have to be patient and give yourself some time to get used to the mechanics. Don't be afraid to start out on story mode like I eventually did until you hone your skills, and then you could play through on normal. The best tip I found was you can grab the zombie heads, which makes it quite easier to stab them. I definitely wasn't doing that in my initial playthrough because who wants to touch zombies? The other was to jump up on cars or dumpsters if you do get overrun, because apparently zombies just need to spend more time in the gym working on their claws. This game will reward your patience by giving you hours and hours and hours of gameplay, especially since your choices do affect the game. For example, if you do not kill anyone from one faction, then that faction won't shoot you. But if you do kill them, they will eventually just shoot you on sight by the end of the game. So you may want to do numerous playthroughs of the game to see the different consequences of your choices. While the app says it can be played sitting or standing, I would definitely recommend standing if you can. And use the crouch button when opening bottom cabinets or slicing up zombies. Since resource management is an important part of the game, the first thing you want to work towards unlocking is deep pockets on the gear workbench. It gives you extra slots in your backpack. Try to not leave an area unless your backpack is full of loot. In the beginning of the game, when there are less zombies, use found weapons such as spoons. Yes, I did say spoons. And bottles, of course, after you break them, to save resources. Walking Dead Saints and Sinners will be one of the games getting an upgrade for the Quest 3, so if you are getting a Quest 3, you may want to wait to purchase the game. I will definitely be playing it again once I get my Quest 3. If after playing this game you are looking to have a nice, relaxing, seated virtual reality experience, then check out my next recommendation, which will be the Moss series. See you then!